I am an alcoholic.
I am an alcoholic.
I am an alcoholic.
I am an alcoholic.
I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, I'm Ricky, and I am an alcoholic.
I am an alcoholic.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am your alcoholic host, and today I am joined with...
I think this is Tom Hanks. You there, Tom?
You can call me Carla.
Okay, Carla. How you doing, Carla?
Good. How are you, Raymond?
I'm good. See, I was going to start this episode out with a little bit of laugh. A little bit of laughter is always a good thing.
Agreed.
Is that endorphins? Does laughter cause endorphins, or is that dopamine?
I don't know. I'm not really a body person. I don't know. Is it serotonin?
Okay. I'm not a rocketologist either, so I don't know. Maybe it is serotonin. I don't know. I just know laughter can just help set the mood and tone and just make your day overall better. So I thought we'd start off the episode like this. I'm an alcoholic, Carla. What about you?
Mm-hmm. I am an alcoholic and a member of AA.
Oh, you're a member of AA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's pretty amazing. So I invited you on the show today because I have brought someone from your past here, and they're going to join us. I'm just kidding.
Oh, what? I was going to say, is this like one of those TLC shows from way in the past? Like, you're getting a makeover.
Yeah. You're going to get a makeover too. So it's all.
Oh my God.
This episode is sponsored by L'Oreal. Is that a company? Hey, L'Oreal, give me some money. So, Carla, really though, welcome. I'm glad to have you here. Haven't really talked to you before.
Yeah.
I've heard you share throughout my tenure and some of our mutual online meetings that we attend, and the other day I was just like, I'm gonna reach out and see if you'd be interested in sharing a little bit, because I feel like everyone brings something different to the table with sharing or just talking about alcoholism or addiction, because not everyone relates to everyone. And I wanted to know a little bit more about you, maybe, and just make you more part of my recovery as well, because I'm selfish like that. This is why I do this. This is part of my service work. I like doing. I'm one of those people that like to do things on my own terms, but I do take suggestions now. So, don't you?
No, I appreciate it. I mean, and I agree 100% that, like, there are people that we resonate with and others that we don't. And honestly, that's how I found my sponsors. Like, her story just really inspired me, even though it's quite different from mine. The things that she's been through, it's just phenomenal that she's the way that she is. She's so open-minded and welcoming, even though, she came up in traditional AA in, the 80s. But, I should mention I'm a secular person. So I go to secular AA meetings. I actually only shared my story in person and in the in-person meeting that I go to. So I'm kind of not surprised that you don't know much of my story. But like, so I I grew up in a pretty normal house, like a really normal household. From the outside, we were just a normal family, you know. But no one was an alcoholic, no really big trauma and abuse or anything like that. So kind of don't know where I get it from, if that makes sense.
No,
But yeah,
it does make sense. This is
okay.
I've got a couple different theories here, so but it does make sense. And
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and like I didn't really start drinking until college, like I my first drink was at 16 in Illinois or in Wisconsin. My dad worked in Wisconsin, and I went to work with him one day. It was like bring your daughter to work day or something like that. It was one of those cheesy things, and I was out of school, so he's like, "Come with." And up in Wisconsin, if you get permission from the bar owner, and you have a guardian with you, and you're under 8 or under 21, you can get a drink. So my dad bought me a drink, and I was like, "Ew, this is gross." I didn't like it at all. But when I got to college, I actually got drunk for the first time, and that was it. That's where I'm like, I'm not awkward anymore. I feel comfortable. I feel fine talking to strangers. Like, this is awesome. And, like the rest is kind of history. Like I just started drinking pretty often. Not during the day. I had rigid rules, which probably should have been, a signal that there was something wrong already. Where it's like, yeah, I only drink after 5 and not before noon and da 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 da, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so it didn't take off for me until my dad died. I was 25. And I did not know how to handle things. My parents did not teach me, emotional control and how to handle big feelings. So I buried it, and I drank away the feelings. And I think that came up in a recent share. I forgot what the topic was. Oh, the only way to go is through. I think that was the topic. And burying those feelings, just left them buried until now when I'm digging them up, working the steps, and I'm still going through it. So yeah, that's kind of ironic and funny, like now that I'm able to handle it, now that I have a program where I can handle the big emotions, I'm seeing how all of this is coming full circle. And honestly, it feels good because my dad deserves to be remembered in a good way. Sorry.
oh, you're fine.
But
you're fine.
yes. Yeah. So thank you to the steps, and thank you to my sponsor for getting me through this. I wish I had her, whatever, 10, 12 years ago, whatever it is.
Yeah. I hear a lot of us saying that, especially after we work with another person, sponsor, mentor, guide, whatever someone feels comfortable calling them. Because then you always hear, I wish, but it's like everything goes in full circle, and all the stuff, like when I first came into the rooms, is like, this is stupid. What? This doesn't make sense. Why are they saying all this stuff? Why is it rinse and repeat? And then the more I travel down this path and listen to other people share and speak and just recovery in general, it's just like, well, shit, that makes sense now. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I would have loved to erase like my 30s and my 20s and all that, and have all the money I spent on booze and all that other stuff. But on the other hand, I look at things right now in my life, and it's like, I think about the butterfly effect.
Yep, exactly.
Because I've got 3 of the most beautiful women in the world that I live with, and that's my wife and my 2 girls. And I'm afraid if I ever changed anything of what I've done or anything like that, I wouldn't have the life I have right now. So
Exactly.
I
I think about that too. Like, you know, like I have to practice forgiveness for myself. I was in survival mode back then, and I was doing the best I could to stay alive and handle those big feelings. And like you said, it led me here. And I'm pretty happy with my life right now, you know. It's exactly 6 weeks that I'm gonna have 2 years. That's
I
it's
knew
kind of awesome.
I didn't know that
Um,
was close.
so yeah, it's coming up. Um, so like, but yeah, like I mean, just 2 years in, I'm already like living my best life. And you know, I hope, you know, fingers crossed, I have a lot of more life to live. So I guess living those bad years and the years that got me down to my bottom, um, I guess it's worth it. You know, like I understand why I had to go through that stuff to have the life that I have now, if that makes sense.
Yeah. See, we're already making stuff that makes sense, relatable
I
things.
hope so.
No. It's I don't know. You've already got my mind moving and already off the direction I wanted to go, and that's the beautiful thing about this. No one way. There's no one way to do this. There's no, you know. That's why I do this. It's like we have so many thoughts when we go through this, and you made it a point to say you participate in secular AA, but you
Mhm.
said your in person meetings with traditional AA.
Yes, so it's interesting. They're a very tolerant group, if I can put it that way. They like my sponsors, a very staunch atheist, if I could use that word. And she's been part of that group for most of her sobriety. So as kind of the matriarch, she's, you know, they understand where she's coming from. They understand her, and so they understand those of us who are her sponsees. And you know, there is higher power talk, and you know, God's doing for me what I can't do for myself, and all of that. But you know, when we talk about our higher powers, and it's not a deity, they're fine with it. You know, as long as we have one, basically, I think that's the bottom line. As long as you have a higher power, they're happy. You know, as long as it's not you. Um, so yeah, they're a very tolerant group. We do have a secular meeting where we read, gosh, what's the book? Sorry, One Big Tent. It's conference approved literature. In this group, we only read conference approved literature. So we read that book on Saturdays and talk about our ability to handle, you know, traditional AA and the God talk, the God word.
Oh my! You said that word. You triggered me.
Yeah, I
No,
know.
I'm just
I'm so
kidding.
sorry.
No. I mean, that was my biggest setback originally, and then because you know, like many people, I tried doing traditional AA at first, and I'm like, oh yeah, higher power. Well, it's something didn't just make. I said a seed made the tree. And I was just
Hmm.
defiant. I was a defiant asshole. I'm still hard headed, but it's just like, uh, I the best way to sum it up. I don't think I was desperate enough back then.
Hmm.
That's the problem. I think it was. I think for us to have this work, we have to have that desperation and to actually be willing to listen to someone else. Yeah,
Absolutely, I agree.
that's my 2 cents on it. But you sound like a traditional conformist, so
Well, I will say that it the I didn't want to join. You know, AA has this reputation of being a cult and very religious, and I didn't want to join a cult, and I definitely didn't want to join a religious group. So it was at my bottom that I'm Googling, like, not, I didn't use the word secular, but it was like AA without God or something like that. And I found one of the groups that we both go to. And that was my first meeting. And after that meeting, I know I'd found my place. So it was kind of just jumping off the deep end or, whatever. So trying to find something that worked. And I'm really, really thankful that I found it. But I do wonder, and that's something we talk about in the Saturday meeting, is, how many people don't come into AA because they're afraid, that same thing. And how many people either come to a group that is all about the God word and then leave and never find the healing and life that they need and want to live. So yeah, it's rather unfortunate to think about those things. Where if we had more meetings like a secular meeting or whatever your higher power is, we're happy with it as long as you have one kind of meeting. I would hope that people would come to AA in bigger droves. I don't know. Again, that's kind of dark. Where I'm hoping people have alcoholism, but I'm also hoping they have feelings and come to AA.
Well, I mean, that's a lot to think about. I mean, we could put numbers and percentages and all that out there. And, I try not to think of, I try not to ever think about numbers or percentages or anything like that. Because originally when I came into recovery, I don't know how much you've heard of my story or anything like that, but, I was trying.
I think I listened to one of your episodes.
I
know a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I was trying to like basically like manipulate my wife back, get, save my marriage and all this and woe is me and all that. But then someone outside, we ended up in the long run, we ended up having like long conversations, but like one of the people say it was like, people always try to intervene themselves in the other people's problems and stuff like that. But like saying like AA and stuff like that, there's only a success rate of like 3% or da 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 and da 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 and all this. And I'm just like, I will prove you wrong, and I got this. And I mean, at the time, I was just talking out of my ass, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do this. I'll get her back, and I ain't gotta fuck with this anymore. But look what I'm doing now. I'm doing this and putting myself out there, putting myself on YouTube, and that's earlier today you shot me a text and you brought up like 11th tradition, and I'm just like, isn't that like I hate that word, but like the anonymity, axolotl. Can you say it? Can you say it better than me?
Anonymity.
Yeah.
Anonymity. Yeah. Sometimes I can't, so I'm having a good day today.
Well, you look a lot smarter than me, so I figure you could pronounce words better than me.
It depends. Again, it depends on the day. Some days I'm just like, I can't say that word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or spell it sometimes.
Yeah. Because that's like swings back, I look at everything that's out there as like a guide, a guide or a suggestion or something like that. And, I talked to my sponsor, hey, I'm going to do this. But when I originally did this was like my way of like, I'm going to do this is my service work and then I win. But now it's more important than that, because it is the true sense of finding stuff that people can relate to. And I break it. Because I don't think it's just one road, one straight way of AA, because like you said, this is a cult or I gotta.
Yep.
Jesus. is gonna take this away. You're healed from alcoholism now.
Right.
But
right.
that's not how it works. And
It's not. It's
you
just really
know,
not.
I've my sponsor, he'll have 37 years here in June, and
Awesome.
it's the power of two, and that's and I don't know if you're familiar with Joe C.
I don't think so. I think I listened to that podcast though.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about like
Yeah.
the secret sauce, and I always just relate to the power of two. And I'm just like, because there's no one way to do this. And I'm starting to repeat myself because sometimes I suck.
No, I think you're right though, because like that's another part of my story is almost immediately after I started drinking heavily after my dad died, I tried to stop. I freaked myself out. And, so like when I was like 26, I tried to stop drinking daily and, all that. Even though I had very strict rules, I was still drinking daily, getting plastered every night and trying to go to class the next day and all that. I was in school at the time. Yeah, I tried to stop and I couldn't. I could cut back and, maybe make more rules of only 3 drinks or, things like that. But I couldn't stop at all. And that lasted for probably like 10 years, 12 years, something like that. And honestly, I couldn't stay stopped until AA. I went 1 year dry during my PhD. I went 1 year dry, but I never lost the urge to drink. It was almost like I keep it away from me because I will drink it. And now I don't want to drink. I really don't want to. Like it, I ran a half marathon last year, and they had Champagne Hill where they were handing out champagne to the runners. And of course, you can't run and drink champagne, So it was all over the road, and it stunk so bad. And like that used to be one of my drinks, and I was like nauseous. I was like, I got to get off this hill. So I ran faster off of that area because it was making me upset. I never would have even thought that was possible. Never. So yeah, there is something about 2 people talking to each other, supporting each other, that makes it work because I couldn't do it by myself.
I think I just found the title for that episode.
Champagne Hill.
Ooh, I like that better. Champagne Hill or the classy alcoholic.
Oh my God.
You're telling a classy tale. But yeah, Champagne Hill it is. So yeah, there's like so many times I stopped, but it was just like breaking habits. I was a rule setter too, I want to drink at work. Originally I was just like a weekend warrior, And,
Yep.
And when I was in the military, I got in trouble for showing up to formation hungover. Never did that again. So that took that out and just made sure it was just a weekend warrior type deal. And then after that, I do believe this is progressive. And you talk about like, well, I grew up in a normal household and, yes, me too.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, my dad tells me stories and stuff like that, but I don't think I don't know. There's no single answer because I do hear other stories, and that's why I keep doing this. I try to compare things, and I compare other things and analyze other things, and it's like, but I get it. It's like I wasn't beaten and
Yep.
like all this other bad traumatic stuff, but I was setting those rules. Then some point in my life, it's like, fuck the rules and everything else. But I never had anything trigger it. It wasn't like
Exactly.
a death. It wasn't anything like that. Just something snapped inside me. I'm just like, you always picture the angel on a shoulder and a devil on the other. It was like two devils on each shoulder. It was just like,
Mhm.
my mind was just, oh my God. And I think a lot of mine was, well, it all comes down to self-centeredness and narcissistic behavior. And
I was just gonna say, like, I don't identify as an egomaniac. Doesn't mean I'm not one, that kind of thing. But I I my mother was very self-centered. She's emotionally immature. I realize that now as an adult. That is part of my AA work, is that realizing, my environment, so I can better address the issues that I have, and work on my seventh and eighth steps, focusing on those issues. But long story short, is it was all about her, and my dad was emotionally absent. And so I thought as a young child, it was me. I'm the reason they don't love me. I'm the reason that they don't pay attention to me. So I became egotistical in the way of beating myself up and telling me I'm not worth it. I'm not lovable. I'm not smart enough. Insert whatever it is. I was the reason, and it's a bad thing. So yeah, that carried through my adulthood, like, I don't know. I don't know why I did some of the things that I did. Like, I sometimes wonder if I got a PhD just to prove that I'm smart to myself. Like really silly things. I obviously love my field of study, but I do wonder sometimes though if it was something like that. Like, internally, it's like a form of vindictiveness. Like, I'll show them I'm smart. I'll show myself I'm smart. But yeah, anyways, long story short is, I do think that there is a little bit of egomania, and even thinking that you're the worst at something. So I agree 100%.
so back to when you quit, was it a solid bottom in desperation, or?
It was very much desperation. I was at a friend's wedding, and it was an open bar, and that's always trouble for me. And so I had a few mutual friends there, so we all sat at a table and drank the entire time. I barely remember the reception. And he had, my friend was the groom, so he had Ubers lined up outside. So he was planning for us to get plastered. So I took my Uber back to my Airbnb and sat in the driveway and continued to drink till 6 a.m. And yeah, that's when it just, you gotta, for me, I gotta realize, like, this isn't how I want to spend the rest of my life. I'm missing these big moments, and it's not acceptable. And so that was my last drunk. And I want to say that if I had planned my last drunk, I would have done it maybe in a more classy way with champagne rather than a rum and coke in a driveway.
Oh my God. I love it. I love it.
Yep. So there you go. That was it. And that's when I was like, I was Googling, yeah, AA without God and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So did you hit the, I'm assuming you found your, you found the secular meetings first, then ended up finding the home group, or?
Yeah, so I was actually in the middle of a move. I know they're like no big changes your first year. Well, that was already set in motion. So I was moving from Houston to here to Oklahoma, and yeah, so I did online meetings through the move, and then once I got here, I found an in-person meeting that worked for me.
So
and they're all, by the way, they're all traditional here. So I was kind of limited to traditional.
Well, that's considered Bible Belt territory, isn't it? Like
It is. It is.
Texas, Oklahoma. Noah looked out the
Arkansas, maybe. Yeah.
Georgia, all that stuff. Which it's funny because I talk to people from West Coast, East Coast, North Coast, South Coast, UK, all like everywhere, and it's just like you hear different interpretations of per se traditional AA. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that's where it's like Then you hear someone question, go, well, secular AA is not real AA. And I go, well, so
I've heard that.
is Bible Belt AA the true AA? Is West Coast AA the right AA? Is it real AA where they're saying if a doctor prescribes you drugs, you can't take those drugs? Is that real AA?
I mean, I'm from the Midwest, and technically Ohio's barely the Midwest, so we'd say Midwest is best, and Midwest AA is real AA. I'm joking, but actually, no. I had someone say that about Zoom. Like, I am a huge, when I'm in my in-person meeting, I do say, I attend Zoom meetings most of the time, and all that, and I get so much out of it, and I see people from all over, and it's and if I want to change it up, I just pick another meeting. You go online and you pick another meeting, and you get to meet new people, and it's great. And someone had the audacity. We were reading Living Sober in one of the meetings, and someone had the audacity to say that Zoom AA isn't real AA. You have to go in person. Okay, should we tell that person that before there was, massive amounts of people in AA, they had to write letters to each other, like the old school Zoom? So if Zoom isn't real, then the letters that they wrote wasn't keeping them sober. Please. Sorry, I got a little sassy there.
No, I like it. I like it. You're getting fierce. Get the claws out. So Midwest Coast.
One of my characters. Go ahead.
You're from the Midwest Coast, then.
Yes.
I don't think there's a coast in the Midwest, so. No, I like it.
I mean, Lake Michigan kind of counts, right?
Yeah.
Kind of.
No, there's a coast to the lake. Is that considered a coast? I don't know.
I think it's a shoreline, at least. Maybe that's like a mini coast.
You're from the shoreline.
Yeah, there you go. Oh God, that sounds worse.
Does that take away from the classiness?
It does. It does.
All right, you're from the coast, son.
I mean,
oh, well, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's anyone's place to be saying what's real AA or what's not AA. It should be what works for that person.
exactly. And I mean, I understand that there are certain things that if you strip them away, they no longer become AA. Like the traditions, as you know, are important to me, and the steps are important to me. And I can see how some people would say, you take those away, you're just in recovery. You're no longer in AA. And I get that. I get what they're trying to do, and and yeah. So there's that. But I also think when we challenge things that are working in other people's recovery, they get scared, because it's, in a way, it's invalidating their recovery or invalidating their experience or whatever, and it threatens them. It's rocking their boat, and they're trying to do everything they can to stay sober and stay alive. So I understand, like that kind of thing. And that's what I tell myself when someone steps on my toes, I just say, take a breath. They're trying to stay sober, and it is a hard, journey for us. So, kind of let it slide and all that. But I'm obviously carrying at least that one resentment of AA isn't real AA. but I work on that. I'll do another 4-step on it or something.
Nah, I get it. I mean, it's we hold on to things. I mean, I put I try to do like little snippets and little thoughts, and just when I think of something, I put it out there. And I just recently started doing this on the YouTubes, which that opens me up for a whole new plethora of, I call them assholes or trolls or whatever, because, you know, I ought to just disable the comments and just not even set myself up for it. But comment was like, no, thank you, creepy or whatever. And it was just like, I'm just putting the questions out there. Am I an alcoholic test and whatever? I'm set up for sound, not straight up awesome video call. Well, I'm just like, whatever. But this is why everyone's got an opinion. Everyone's got that. I understand that. And that's why I like talking about this, because it's just like it's so hard for people. There's people out there that can't figure out how to relate to other people. And, you know, I'm all about it, but it's just people are scared to talk to people. And that's why I put this out there. You know, it's not a cult. I'm not giving up my money. I'm not letting someone else have relations with my wife.
Exactly.
I mean, it's, I don't know. I haven't.
You're trying to help people. It's part of your recovery. You know, that is one of the foundations of AA, and you know, the steps in many programs, even, you know, programs that have rewritten the steps in a more secular friendly way of being of service to people. And this is the way you're being of service. So
yeah, but I'm back on the tangent of where you think about how many alcoholics are out there that get turned away because they're scared and all that. And now you've got my mind running all over the place, and it's like, but everyone's judgmental and everything else. And I don't know. Yeah. I think everyone needs a 12-step program in their life, and this world will be a better place.
I thought that. I swear to God, I thought that around like 6 months in. I'm like, everyone should be doing this. This is great. Like taking a deep look at me and what makes me tick, and, you know, where I can do better and all that. I mean, maybe that's that person in me that's like, I'm the worst at everything, and this is where I could do better. Maybe I was feeding that beast, but either way, I got up to this point where I'm just like, oh man, yeah, everyone should do this. But again, there's that kind of expectation, you know, of that other people can do better. Maybe they're doing their best. Heck, we don't know, you know.
And that's the thing. We are our own worst enemies when it comes to expectations. And that's something that just doesn't go away either. We will always have expectations, but it's controlling the state of mind it puts us in and the way we react to it.
Yep.
See, I'm a self-proclaimed PhD on alcoholism. Just kidding. I thought I sounded smart.
I mean, it could go either way. I mean, you could be the experiment itself, or you could be talking to those of us who are alcoholics and having recovery issues or whatever. Yeah, but I think that's pretty awesome. I mean, honestly, you probably could write a dissertation on all the things that you've seen, you know, consistencies, trends, whatever, and be like, okay, well, we see these and these types of people, you know, that kind of thing. That's all a dissertation really is, at least in my mind.
So what point, because it's like you're passionate about your home group, right? That group of people.
I mean, yes, yeah, I would say that I'm strongly attached to them, and when they suffer, I suffer. So, yeah.
Okay, that's probably the correct wording for that. So I just lost smart points for that. No, but I'm just saying, it's like you came in. I don't know if you're atheist or agnostic, but you're not. You got your higher power. You're on that basis right there. You're in.
Yeah.
You're in the Bible Belt, and that sense. How you're going on? You said 6 weeks. You'll have 2 years.
Yeah.
At what point?
So crazy.
What point did that not bother you being there?
Honestly, like I grew up pretty much agnostic, and then like when my parents divorced, my mom became like super Catholic, and so I was like baptized, confirmed, and all that in a matter of like years. So like intensely Catholic. I don't know, maybe that's a better title, intensely Catholic. Um, so like I was used to, that kind of lifestyle and thing, and we'd go to church every Sunday. So I have an understanding and a compassion for people who live their life based on rules, whether they're sent down by some deity or whatever. So, I guess I have that understanding of they're just trying to live their lives. It's only when they're really trying to get under my skin that they can do so, because otherwise I just have that, okay, that's your belief then, like kind of let it roll off my back, so to speak. But yeah, like, so obviously I'm not sitting here complaining about people in their higher powers and what that is. I'm complaining about the guy who said Zoom AA isn't real AA. That's where I have a bone to pick. But no, like, and I chose a higher power. My higher power is, the earth and all of the things that happen. I'm like sitting in my office watching the wind blow the trees. And this morning driving in, I saw a tree that was blown over. We had some really high winds. That's beyond my control. That's a higher power. And that's what I've chosen. And it works, like it works for me. Realizing how very, very small I am in this world. That seems to set my ego into place, which is what, in my opinion, a higher power should do.
Man, I like that. I started thinking, I like send myself into anxiety attacks when I think how small we are, because
Yes,
I will
yes.
picture where I'm sitting right now. Then I picture looking up. You look up at the sky. Then you look what's beyond the sky. Then you go up into space. Then you go across space. Where does it stop?
Exactly.
And everything just gets
Exactly.
smaller. And then the whole time it's going, oh, we are as dust in the wind. I probably butchered that. I probably sang it wrong too. So, man,
No, I think that's right.
yeah.
I don't know which band it is. Is that the Eagles?
Well, you just lost points. That's Kansas, I believe.
I know. I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness.
I'll take 70s rock for 500. Hotel California was the Eagles.
Oh my goodness.
So, no, but it's like, so how long ago did that thing with the guy saying Zoom AA is not real AA?
Oh, that was, God, it's got to be like at least 6 or 7 months ago now. It
And
was.
you're still holding on to this.
I am. Like that's part of it. Like I discovered as part of my my 6th and 7th step work. Like I realized how vindictive I had no idea how vindictive I was. No idea. I was just walking around completely blind to this. But now I realize it, and I see this as a element of that, of wanting to stick it to them. But I think if I heard recently in a meeting, and it's kind of stuck with me as well, that if I use that as a good thing, if I use my character defects or unhealthy personality traits or whatever you want to call them as tools rather than, something that hurts me in my sobriety, then that's good, and so that's kind of what I'm going to be doing here with that is trying to get people to see Zoom AA as real AA, even though that particular person might never see it that way, and keep going and building up my Zoom network and people, and so yeah, because I want to keep it accessible to people. Because without Zoom, I wouldn't have gotten sober. There was no way in hell I was going to just show up to a traditional AA meeting and sit in the back of the room and be like, oh my God, I did just join a cult. so because yeah, with Zoom, you hop on and you listen, and especially in those big meetings. And some of the first meetings I went to were very small. There was 3 of us, and I still got something out of it. Like it was still a great transformational thing that happened to me. But I had to get that one meeting, and it was very large, where I was like, I found my people, and I had to have that experience, and then the rest of it was history. So, I mean, if Zoom AA is keeping me sober, to me, that's a legitimate form of AA.
Yeah, I'm 489 days today, and
Yes.
it's all based off of Zoom. I mean, I can go to in-person meetings. I when I got my year chip, I went purposefully to go to in-person meetings, traditional. I don't care, because it's AA is AA. You can word it however you want. And the one time when someone told me in a traditional meeting that they feel sorry for me because I don't have a higher power and I don't believe in any of that, they feel sorry for me. Why do you feel sorry for me? I'm just here telling you
seriously.
how I do AA. I don't have to. I'm a very wording specific person. No matter, even if I word things wrong or whatever, I don't even know what the hell I'm trying to go at this, but it's just, it works. This is what's working for me. I do 99.8% of my stuff online, and I'm even becoming a better person doing this,
Yep.
I apologize to people for shit now. And I'm like, or when I notice I've done something wrong, or I said something I shouldn't have said, I correct it. Or and I'm starting to learn how to not act or react without thinking. And that's always been an issue ever since I was a wee little lad. I just say, I won't even think. I just say it and I'm in trouble, or do it. I do something without thinking. Man, all the ass beatings and everything else I could have saved myself from if I'd have just stopped and thought.
Like you said, it's kind of that butterfly effect of, we had to get to that certain point, and then now we have what we have. And for what it's worth, and this is the beauty of our fellowship and AA, is you're apologizing more. I'm apologizing less. I'm realizing I am not a piece of garbage, and I deserve respect. And I'm not going to apologize for, stating what I think. I do say it a lot, though. I do say it a lot, but it's less.
I mean, we all have our own different defects too. So it's how we approach them and correct them. And that's the thing. It's we come to these programs because we've already, some people come and they're actively drunk or whatever and whatnot. But it's like I started catching on. This is how I stay sober. How I control those thoughts. I drive by an old gas station and grab some tall boys or a 40 or whatever. Like, oh yeah. Like yesterday, I stopped to get got gas, went in. I wanted one of those Coke Zero moves. It's like a real weird flavor, and they didn't have Coke Zeros in this gas station. I looked.
Oh God.
I looked to the left and I was like, Twisted Tea. I'm like,
Oh my no.
I was like, tea sounds good, and I'm just like,
Not that one. Not that one.
I just turned around and walked out of the gas station. I just walked out.
Exactly.
I'm like, why did I even think of that? And that goes back to my thing. I like to talk about impulsive thoughts a lot, and it's just a thought, and it's just like, it's just because I have a thought. That's what it boils down to. Just because I have a thought doesn't mean I need to act on it or do it. And it's, but I just
Absolutely.
straight up walked out because my thought was, and it was just like, I'm sitting here explaining it, but this was in a matter of like, 45 seconds to a minute. But it's like, I could foresee, okay, yeah, I buy this Twisted Tea. No one will know. No one will know. And it's like, I know it won't stop. I know what it's going to cause. I know because someone will know, and I couldn't be honest with myself with that. And it's who the hell thinks like that? Where did Ray go? Where did Ray go? Ray used to not give a shit. And it was like one of those moments, and it's, hey, yesterday was day 488, today's day 489, because
Darn tootin'.
I was able to envision everything.
Yep, exactly. And like, actually, you hit on a good point. I used to have drunk dreams all the time when I was just starting out, when I was just newly sober. I didn't have one for a long time. And and someone brought up recently their first drunk dream, and it freaked her out. And then my brain's like, you know what we haven't done in a while? And that next night, I had a drunk dream too. But in that dream, I was really upset, even because I only took a shot. And was not drunk. And in my dream, I was contemplating, do I have to reset my day count? No one knows, I didn't get drunk, all that. And in that same dream, I felt extreme guilt because I know. And yes, I do have to reset my day count. It doesn't matter, it's a slippery slope. Like what you were talking about is like, maybe this time, it doesn't, no one knows, but next time they will, because it's not going to stop.
Yeah. I had a dream once, and I don't know why I took the drink, but I came home and the house was empty.
Oh no.
And I woke up and was having a panic attack, and I'm like, well, the house ain't empty. I'm going back to sleep. But it was a good reminder. It was a good thought.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I remember.
It's definitely one of those things.
I hear people talking about drunk dreams or whatever, drinking dreams or whatever, and I'm like, I've never had one of those. Boy, when I have one, I have one.
It saves it all up.
Yeah. I don't know. Our minds are so baffling.
Yes. Absolutely. And they're powerful too.
Well, you're a doctor. You ain't got all this figured out yet.
I know. Okay, we are talking about people, and we're specifically talking about alcoholics. I study rocks. They're really easy compared to people. They don't change. They just hang around, and I get to just, examine them and all that. And they're very straightforward. They don't lie. They don't cheat. They don't do anything like that. They're just rocks. People are messy.
Well, there's people out there that act like they've got rocks in their head.
Definitely. Definitely.
I don't know. No, I ain't going there. I gotta get serious. Woo! This has been a good one.
Sorry.
This is a good one.
We we've jumped around on a lot of topics actually.
I like this. I like this. I like to shake it up.
I mean, whatever you had originally planned, if we want to do another podcast where we talk about what you had in mind, that's just fine.
Oh, you're welcome to come back to the show anytime if you got something to talk about or want to be on the show. I'm always looking for people to come
Oh
on the
no,
show.
I didn't have any plans, but it kind of sounded like in the beginning you had a few ideas of what you wanted to talk about, and
No, not
here we
really.
are talking about.
No, I didn't even think about
Yeah.
it until you texted me this morning. I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't think. I don't plan. A couple episodes ago, it's titled "Rich Sobriety." I met him on Twitter, and we're still in contact.
Cool.
You know, and
Cool.
he's like, "Well, is there anything you want to know?" Or I'm like, "No." I'm like, "No." He's like, "Well, how are we gonna do?" I was like, "You listen to the show." I said, "This is just natural conversation." Because right now we're this is my belief. This is actually an AA meeting that people are going to be able to listen to. This isn't how all meetings go, because this is what I feel like works, and you know I'm going to be like, I had a meeting today and it was great. Because you met me,
Exactly,
you met me on Zoom, and we're going on 57 minutes of sobriety.
I'm having fun. I was nervous. I was so nervous for this. Like, yeah, like even up until I text you, I'm like, okay, I gotta do this. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. And now I'm having just the time of my life. This is awesome.
Oh, you said you were nervous, huh? And what I tell you the other day?
I was. I know you said it would be fine, and you know everyone has said they're nervous and all that, but I this is another thing. It's like that what is that, something uniqueism or whatever it is. Like everyone thinks they're so GD unique. Yeah, I'm one of those where I'm like, no one gets nervous like I get nervous. Like I during my dissertation defense, I blacked out. I was so nervous, I blacked out. And I recently found another person. And she's in my field. She blacked out during her dissertation defense too. Didn't know what she said, all that, but she passed. So it must have been good. Same thing. I don't know what I said. I took notes. I had a notebook, for the grilling portion of the defense, where they ask you all the questions that you didn't address, in your talk. And I wrote them down, so I knew what I got feedback. But what I actually said, I don't know. And I was sober at the time. That was my year. That was my year of dryness, if I can call it that, because I knew I had to graduate, and yeah, so that was that. But yeah, no, I was feeling that unique self of no one gets nervous like me. Come on, Ray.
So you're pretty much your whole first year was, you're saying, dryness, like as a
No. So like when I was wrapping up my PhD, I knew I had to buckle down and get that done. So I had to be sober. So I white knuckled it through that last year of my PhD, and then the pandemic happened. I actually defended April of 2020, so that was fun. And then once that was done and over with, oh yeah, it was back to normal. It was fine. I mean, well, not fine, but you know what I'm saying. It was back to weekend drinking, blacking out, waking up in the bathroom, and all those fun places where it's like, how the hell did I get up here? So I spent most of my postdoc drunk. And then I was like, okay, if I want a career, I'm gonna have to stop this. And that's really when it's like, okay, I need long-term help. I can't white knuckle it. That year was awful. It was awful. I didn't see my friends. I basically avoided drinking, and you can't do that your whole life. You got to find a way to deal with your disease. You can't not go to the doctor and assume you're fine. You got to go take your meds. And for me, my AA meetings are my daily meds.
I heard someone say that yesterday. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely yoinked that from someone in one of my meetings where I'm like, yeah, it is a daily medication that I take every day, and it works. It works, so I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm not gonna screw this up and lose my job or something like that, because that was the road I was headed on. I think the only reason I got as far as I did without losing jobs and things of that nature was because I was a student and no one really cared. As long as you showed up to teach your class and other things like that where you had hard in your schedule, the rest of it, if you're just supposed to be, in your office writing, no one's going to check. So if I was home passed out because I was out the night before, who cares?
Yeah.
Well, I should have cared, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Sorry.
No, I was going to say.
I apologize for no reason. I got to stop doing that.
Oh, you do that? Is that what you meant?
I apologize for no reason. Yes. I got to stop saying sorry for, finding things entertaining. Why is that something to be sorry about?
No, you don't have to be sorry at all.
Exactly. So that's where I got to say sorry less when I'm saying sorry less.
Yeah.
I'm saying sorry less for being myself.
I was searching for the next little joke I was going to throw in there, and I stopped myself, and I keep stopping myself.
No, you were funny regardless. You didn't need a joke.
Well, you could see it, so.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man, I'm gonna have a great day today.
I'm glad. Yeah. Again, I was very nervous, but I'm having a great time. I'm going to do a little work. I'm taking Tuesday off, so I came in today. I'm going to do some work this afternoon so I can enjoy my Tuesday without worrying about things that I have to do. So, again, this is something that I wouldn't be able to do. I was still drunk because I would spend all of my Sundays trying to get, off of my hangover, try to eat because my stomach would be so upset that I couldn't eat. Sunday was always my recoup day. Look at me. I'm at work. Oh, what happened?
I'd have a buzz. I'd already start drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Probably about an hour and a half from now is when the car accident happened.
Oh no.
Yeah, I put that all in perspective because I was talking to someone about that the other day, and we're talking about the last year, it was like when I was riding the motorcycle and stuff, it was like I was always thinking about like drinking because it's like, yeah, I'm a biker. I get to go to bars and drink beers and do badass stuff. And it's just like, man, I want a beer. I'm on my bike, and I'm like, I'm fucking stupid. I was like, how many times I could have fucking killed myself drinking and riding on a motorcycle? How in the fuck am I still here? How am I still here?
Right. And I'm I when I was actively drinking, I didn't give a shit if I died. That was okay. Well, what loss was that to humanity? But I was worried about other people, and I only got one DUI. There you go. That's bragging rights. Jesus. Anyways, I only got one DUI, and they made me take the DUI classes, and they didn't send me to AA, which was very weird because it was Texas, which is also very super religious. So you would have thought that they would send me to AA, but they sent me to this DUI class where they had people come in who lost family members and all that to drunk driving. And there was someone, and she was so sweet. She lost her daughter back, I think it was in the 80s or 90s. It was right by my apartment. Like I could have seen where the accident was in my apartment. And it was like she was about to graduate high school. So she had her whole life ahead of her. And I still drink after that. You know, you would have thought that was a wake up call, like listening to this heart wrenching story, and me being a very empathetic person. I thought that would have got me, but nope. It's so crazy what we go through, and don't think about it because our disease has us kind of in tunnel vision.
Well, I mean, stuff like that, we hear it, but it doesn't, at the time, it doesn't apply to us because we think we're not going to cause that. That's my thought. That's my 2 cents. I'm not saying everyone, because they'll be like, oh, well, I don't think that way, right? Well, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that's my thought.
No. Mm-hmm. And yeah, and similarly, like I'm a very empathetic person, so I felt her pain. Like I really identified with her pain, but it just, it's not that I didn't think it would have happened to me. It's that I kind of didn't care if it happened to me, because if it took me out too, then great. Ugh, very dark thoughts. Sorry.
Yeah.
Probably should have had a trigger warning in front of that one.
No, you're good. You're good. I like that. Not because it's dark or whatever.
No, I understand.
It drives a point. But here's something. All right. I just came up with an awesome thing here in this thought. All right.
All right.
You were empathetic, right? You're an empathetic person. I wasn't very
Absolutely.
empathetic. Then like, boom, you turn it around, you like bounce those, and it's like magnet. When you do, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a rock doctor or anything, but like, magnets will repel themselves when you have
it's the
like
polar sides
bears.
of them. Well, yeah,
Yeah. So, but that's two. It's two different things. I don't know where in the fuck I'm going with this, but
well, it's just that people like you and me, and it can be in the same AA room and relate to each other, even though it seems like we have different emotional, I don't know, identifiers or something. You know what I'm trying to say?
You said that so
you and I have a lot in common.
Than me. You said so much.
No,
you said it way better than I could have.
It's not smarter. Stop doing that. It's just that, like I write a lot, so it might be some of that where I just have that vocab on hand because I have to write it. But no, like I mean that's the beauty of AA, and that's why I love it is because we can have such different people in the room, but there's so much that we can relate on. But it's just crazy. It's like meeting a group of friends for the first time, but it's like you've known each other forever. Yeah,
that's what I wanted to say. No, I'm not the person to put it into words. I never have been. I try to explain things, and I come up with these awesome ideas and stuff like that, and I try to explain it, and I feel like I sound stupid or whatever, and
no, just keep practicing. That's all of my advisors ever told me when I was like getting my edits back, and it's all red, and entire pages are crossed out, entire pages that I toiled over, crossed out like they were just keep working on it.
Well,
and that's the same with the steps. Keep working them.
Yeah, yeah. But it's like back to the YouTube crap.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I all those thoughts, all that negative self-thinking of how I sound, I said screw it, because it doesn't matter if it gets. It's the same thing with the podcast, and I do put the numbers out there of how many downloads we have, just because I look at it as whether it's 1 or a million, it's helping someone.
Exactly.
And that's all that matters to me. And it doesn't matter how stupid I sound or how bad whatever is. If someone relates to it, that's all that matters. It's all that matters.
Well, do you get the data? This is a random question and probably not supposed to be on the podcast, but do you get the data for Spotify? Because I listen to you on Spotify.
Yeah, it says you haven't listened since you quit running, is what it says on Spotify.
Oh, that is definitely not data from Spotify. That is data from me. I do need to get out there and run though. It's getting gorgeous, and I gotta do that.
Yeah, I gotta do it. I mean, I keep getting right directions and trying to do more exercise, and I'm one of those. But that's one of the thing is like I had so much of a hard time, with the change of this and changing of personality, because what is Ray's flavor of the month? I like one thing. I do this. I do because I'll talk to people. I'll tell them, yeah, I've done this. I can do this. I can do that. They're like, is there any? I was like, I just do things. I try to learn things and do it. And, like my Chibi Hulk smash. This is what I'm doing now. I mean, I'm doing that now.
Nice.
I started doing 3D printing and painting, and
oh, that's so cool.
like the music on the
love it.
The music on the show. Awesome. I composed and edited it. And I edit this. I'm like,
indulging your creative side is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you change it, that's fine. Like I think that's something that we do as human beings, much less alcoholics, is try to conform to what is a long-term thing, like keeping the same job forever and ever and ever, which is great. It's great if you can do it. But for those of us who maybe get a little bored sometimes and want to shake things up, that's fine. Maybe not making such dramatic changes as, changing jobs all the time, but, changing from running to yoga to kickboxing. Why not?
Yeah.
Keep it active.
Yeah, but I'm just so I'm so impulsive about all the stuff, and I always do it in excess. It's like when I started doing the model painting, it's like I need this paint, I need this paint. I'm like spending all this money on, and like half the paint I haven't used yet, and I need this, I need this, I need this, and I'm like, I have to talk to my wife, and I'm just like, hey, I'm doing crazy shit again. I'm thinking you're right. Ray has a flavor. I said you're right. You're right. And I've been trying. That's one of the things I've been working on. And I like it was like 2 weeks ago. The computer that I do the music editing on is about to die. And I've got a nice laptop I'm working on right now that I'm working on so I can edit the podcast. She was gone. She was out of the house. I can't remember where she went. I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to Best Buy. I'm gonna go buy an iMac. That way I have that for this. I have that. Then I have this. And I get down there and I'm like, all right, I want this one. And I'm like, I didn't even talk to my wife about this. I better not do this. We need to get trees cut down. We need to do this. We need to do that. And I didn't buy it.
Good. Well, I mean, good to save it for a later date.
Yeah. Well, I came up with a better fix. I bought like $20 on a thing with more USB ports for the MacBook Pro, because this brand new MacBook I'm working on, and I'm like, well, the video quality, I probably just need more lighting. I'm like, why am I thinking about this so much? Why am I making such a big deal about this? I I can move stuff over to the hard drive, save whatever I need off that computer, see if the program that I do the editing works with this, and just put the memory on external hard drives. I was going to go drop like money that I didn't need to drop right now because I don't need it. Right? It was a Ray wants, Ray does. That's I what happened to Ray? What happened to me? I would have done that. I would have just done it. It's not just not drinking. I think of other people now, and that's what scares me to death. It's like, that's probably why people think it's a cult, but it's not. It's for the better. It's for the better. Like I said, my money's my money.
And the funny thing
Go ahead.
that you mentioned that it's like I kind of don't give a shit anymore, if I can say that. If that just sounds weird, that if caring about other people and caring about people like you that I've never even met in real life, if caring about you guys makes this a cult, and caring about your welfare and how you're doing and all that, if that makes it a cult, then all right. There's worse cults out there. I'm sure of it. I don't know any, but I'm sure.
Yeah. But you did it again. You just did the magnet thing again. You said, I don't give a shit no more. Well, I give a shit now. I used to not give a shit about nothing. Nothing. I don't give a shit.
Yep.
Fuck you. I don't give a shit. No, I don't fucking care. I mean, seriously, now it's like, damn it, I give a shit.
Yep.
And
I think that's your program working, though. Is it taking with the and mine as well. I'm not going to make that about you. I should talk about myself. Is taking those things that were harming us before and making us into the way that we were, and changing them, and making, and maybe not the opposite, or at least edging in some more healthy a balance to it. And I think that's a good thing. And like we're still. I'll just again speak for me. I consider myself still pretty early in sobriety. 2 years ain't diddly. For myself, again, not knocking anyone else's sobriety. Where I have so much to learn, because my sponsor, she just celebrated 41 years sobriety, and I look at her and I'm just like, oh my God, I have such a long ways to go. If I want what she has, I have such a long way to go. So again, baby steps, and what you're describing to me is what I would, consider baby steps. Is you're realizing I would have done this in the past. I'm not going to do it now because I have things to lose, and I don't want to lose those things. That's amazing. Amazing. Can you imagine in 489 days? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
That you made this change? Yeah. Isn't that incredible? I think that's worth celebrating.
Yes. I suppose.
I know. It sucks sometimes, but it's worth it.
No,
Not
but
being able to indulge.
But you're saying 41 years. I say 37 years.
Incomprehensible.
We say
yes.
No.
Incomprehensible.
Hold on, I'm building up to this. So we got those
in
that
sorry.
corner. We've got day one, and you got everything else in between. But all that matters is we just get through it today. Yeah. Yeah, it's incomprehensible, and it's a long ways to go, but all we got to do is worry about today. And I'm just like, what about tomorrow? What about next week? What how am I going to pay that? This is stupid. But now I just focus on. You see where I'm going with this now.
Oh yeah, no, but it's funny you bring that up though, because it's something that I was thinking about. So I booked tickets to Orlando to go visit. We'll just say that. Oh my God, that was my first meeting. Oh my God, and it wasn't on the day of my 2 year that I joined them. I think it was like a few days after because I was packing and moving and all that other stuff. But this year, my soberversary. I don't know. I don't like birthday. I have one birthday, but I have a soberversary, and my soberversary is May 16th. May 16th is on a Tuesday this year, so I'm gonna go fly down and meet the Oh My God crew and thank them for my sobriety because I owe it to them. You know, their welcoming nature and everyone that I've met there, they're so amazing. So I booked those tickets, but again, I consulted with my sponsor and I was like, this kind of flies in the face of one day at a time. And, I'm assuming that I'm going to stay sober for the next 6 weeks, which, I don't want to, put the cart before the horse, but I think that's going to happen. Like I'm going to be fine. But she gently, and she's so awesome and gentle. She's like, we live one day at a time. We can still make plans for the long term. And I was just like, exactly what I needed to hear, So yeah.
Yeah, that's worked
I
a
hope
lot
that
better.
plays into, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
it works out a lot better that way. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I had the thought about that too, but it's just like it's all about trying to do things the right way and not spend a bunch of money and do all this, make sure things are right. I do want to go down there too. I mean, that was my introduction to secular AA, and I'll link that into the show notes with that. I know someone has found the Oh My God and Reason and Recovery because of this podcast. And that just knowing that's the whole purpose of this, and they're doing amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
exactly.
I mean, they have good days and bad days and all that, and that's amazing. This is an amazing thing, and if I can understand why people think it, the waiting for the miracle to happen. It does. You can word it however you want to word it. That's the other thing. You don't like the wording. You can word this however you can word these things however you want to word it.
I mean, yeah, you hit on a good point too. Trying to, in my mind, balance out traditional AA and secular AA is, they talk about in the big book and in the traditional meetings, it's a spiritual program, fun, and psychic change happens. And I understand that this is, words from the 1930s, so they don't mean the same thing necessarily that they mean today. But looking at the psychic change part of it, I really can't put my finger on when and how that happened. Like again, I was dry for what I would consider a significant portion of time for someone who used to drink every day. But there was no change. There was no change to my behavior. There was no change to my mind. There was none of that. Here, there's a huge change, and I don't know what it was. And again, I think we both have reiterated it in that it's two people talking, or at least two people talking about AA and their alcoholism and sharing experience, strength, and hope with each other. And as for the spiritual part of it, I think what they were getting at, because spiritual is more applying to a religious idea, I think that's more modern than 1930. The spiritual, I think they were talking about the intangibles, and there is a lot of intangible things that happen in this program, like trying to work on, being less anxious, for example, and being less self-conscious. Those are things that I can't, touch, feel, or do anything about, but it all comes from, up here in my mind. So yeah, there is some quote unquote spirituality to that, if that makes sense.
And there's also ways to look into wording of things too. I mean, it's just like sobriety doesn't mean you don't drink alcohol. There's mental sobriety, and you talk about intangible, and that falls in line with being judgmental and thinking this, that, and another, and blah 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 blah. I if that's a spirituality change, the way is thinking and behaviors two different things, or is behaviors and thinking the same thing, or I don't know.
It's and see this. This is where I get to use. This is where I get to use my favorite line. I'm not that kind of a doctor.
Yeah, but I'm not. I'm not a rocketologist. You are.
Just I like rock doc. I think we'll stick with that.
Oh, you're a rock doc. Okay. So
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, do you like the rocks get colds or corona or how do you treat a rock?
Oh, I look at them. And specifically, I'm a sedimentologist, so I look at sediments. So like sands, gravels, all those. We're pretty familiar. I'm pretty lucky in that people kind of know what I'm talking about when I talk about sediments. But I look at their composition and the texture of the minerals within them. So I can tell where they come from. And so that's a majority of what I do is I say, okay, the mountains that are no longer there that we no longer have, these are what's left of those mountains. So that way we can know about these mountains that don't exist anymore, especially here in Oklahoma. We used to have some big mountains here, like really big ones. And they're not there, or they're bumps now. They're adorable little mountains and hills. And so I study those ancient mountain systems.
Hey, but that's something that you can actually physically verify and see, and
Exactly. Exactly.
that's what I base my stuff off of.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, they don't.
What? I interrupted you. I stopped.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was just going to say again, mountain. The rocks aren't going to lie and tell me there was no mountain here. You know,
Right.
these are not the droids you're looking for.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Oh yeah, no worries. I hope that you have plenty of materials and things that I think you think would help your listening base.
Well, we're up to 1 hour and 26 minutes. That's a pretty good episode.
Oh, swing. Yeah.
So if someone's running,
exactly.
they're gonna put on some mileage there because they won't want to stop listening.
Well,
to this.
hopefully in that hour and 26 minutes, there's things that they can resonate with and maybe use in their sobriety as well.
Oh yeah. You got any final thoughts, last words, advice? Day one.
Oh man, I probably should have something on deck for that, but not really. I mean, I guess the only thing, and I think I said this at my 1 year thing when they asked how I did it, and it's like it really was just as simple as one day at a time. This too shall pass, and relying on my sober friends for their help. It's really it sounds so simple, but it's really hard to put into practice. But yeah, one day at a time, and this too shall pass.
I like that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you.